Hospital room, 6th floor, Memorial Hospital, New York. Morning light filtering through window. Weak light, gray light, sad light. Man in bed. Not moving much, breathing labored, thin, so thin. This is not Babe Ruth, not the Babe Ruth, not the legend, not the Sultan of SWAT, not the larger-than-life hero who hit 714 home runs. This is George Herman Ruth, dying man, cancer eating him from inside, throat cancer, spreading, unstoppable. Doctors say weeks, maybe days. Everyone knows, Ruth knows, accepts it, has made peace, but still hard, still painful, still unfair, only 53 years old, too young, too soon, too much left to do. But cancer doesn't care about fairness, doesn't care about legacy, doesn't care about unfinished business, just consumes, relentlessly, mercilessly, final. Wife Claire sitting beside bed, holding his hand. Warm been holding it for hours, for days, for weeks. Watching him fade, watching legend become memory, watching husband become ghost, heartbreaking. But she stays, never leaves, never stops loving, never stops hoping, even though hope is gone, even though end is near, even though goodbye is coming. She stays, because love doesn't leave, even when everything else does. Nurse enters, checks vitals, takes temperature, records information, professional, efficient, kind, but also sad. Everyone in hospital knows who this patient is. Babe Ruth, the Babe Ruth, dying here, in this room, in this bed. Doesn't seem real, doesn't seem possible. Heroes aren't supposed to die. Legends aren't supposed to fade, but they do. They're human, mortal, temporary. Just like everyone else. Nurse finishes. Looks at Claire. Can I get you anything? Coffee? Food? Claire shakes head. No, thank you. I'm fine. You should eat. You should rest. You've been here all night. I'll rest when... Voice trails off. Can't finish sentence. Can't say words. Too painful. Too real. Nurse understands, nods, leaves quietly, respectful, gentle, understanding weight of moment. Ruth stirs, eyes open slightly, sees Claire, tries to smile, can't quite manage, too weak, too tired, but eyes show love, show gratitude, show goodbye. Claire leans close. How are you feeling? Whisper, barely audible. Tired. Do you need anything? Water? Medicine? Just you. Just this. Just... Cough interrupts. Painful cough. Body shaking. Claire helping him sit up slightly. Easier to breathe. Coughing subsides. Ruth settles back. Exhausted from small effort. This is what dying looks like. Slow. Painful. Undignified. Ace taking everything. Leaving nothing. Reducing giant to shadow. Legend to memory. Man to whisper. Sound from outside. Faint at first. Then louder. Voices. Many voices. Children's voices. Claire walks to window, looks down, 6 floors below, street level, crowd gathering, growing, children, hundreds of children, standing, waiting, looking up, at hospital, at this window, at this room. Word has spread. Babe Ruth is dying, kids coming to say goodbye, to pay respects, to see hero one last time, even from distance, even from street, just to be near, just to be present, just to witness. History happening, legend fading, childhood hero leaving. They need to be here, need to see, need to remember this moment, this day, this goodbye. Claire returns to bed. Babe, there are children outside, hundreds of them, waiting. Ruth's eyes open more. Children? Yes, they came to see you, to say goodbye. Something changes in Ruth's face. Small change, but significant. Spark, brief, fading, but there. Help me up. Babe, you need to rest. You shouldn't. Help me up. Please, need to see them. Need to... Another cough, but determined, insistent. Claire knows that look, knows that tone, knows resistance is useless, helps him sit up. Slowly, carefully, supporting his back, his weight. Almost nothing now. Cancer took everything, muscle, strength, vitality. Left only will, only spirit, only determination, and love, always love, especially for children. Claire helps him to edge of bed, feet touching floor, standing, barely. leaning heavily on her, each step agony, each movement exhausting, but moving, toward window, toward light, toward children, toward one last moment. When one last connection, one last gift. They reach window, Ruth leaning on sill, looking down, seeing crowd, hundreds of children, some with parents, most alone, all looking up, waiting, hoping, praying for glimpse, for wave, for acknowledgement, for something to remember, something to tell grandchildren someday. I was there when Babe Ruth died. I saw him, he saw me. We connected, one last time. Ruth's hand trembling, raising, waving, weak wave, small wave, but visible. Children below erupting, pointing, shouting. There he is! It's Babe! He's waving! Babe Ruth. Joy, pure joy, mixed with sadness. Bittersweet moment, seeing hero, but knowing it's goodbye. Knowing this is last time. Knowing legend is ending, but grateful, so grateful, for this moment, this wave, this connection, this memory. Ruth tries to open window, can't. Too weak. Claire helps. Window opening, fresh air rushing in. Sounds from below louder now, clearer. Children cheering, crying, calling his name. Babe! We love you, Babe! Thank you. Don't leave us. Words hitting Ruth hard. Harder than any pitch, harder than any loss, harder than cancer itself. These children, these innocent souls, looking to him, loving him, needing him, and he's leaving, not by choice, but leaving nonetheless. Ruth looks around room, seeing stack of index cards on nightstand, official Babe Ruth cards, with his picture, his signature pre-printed, used to give them away. Thousands of them, over years, decades, to any child who asked, who wanted, who needed piece of Babe Ruth. Now, only few dozen left. Final cards, final gifts, final connections. He points. Cards, get cards. Claire understanding, bringing them. Well, handing to him. Ruth taking one. Holding it, studying it. Young Babe. Ruth staring back. Strong, healthy, powerful. Everything current. Babe Ruth is not, but still same person. Still same heart. Still same love. For game, for life, for children. Ruth takes pen, Claire helping him hold it, handshaking, writing almost impossible, but trying, determined, must do this, must give this, must leave this. Signs first card, signature shaky, barely legible, but there, real, authentic. Last autographs Babe Ruth will ever sign, last gifts he'll ever give. Leans out window, carefully, Claire holding him. Making sure he doesn't fall, can't fall, not now, not here, not this way. Ruth holds card, shows it to children below. They see it, start screaming louder. Throw it! Down here! Please, Babe! Ruth releases card, watching it flutter down, spinning. Falling, 6 floors, children scrambling, pushing, reaching. One catches it, holds it up, triumphant, treasure, priceless treasure, from dying hero. From legend saying goodbye. Ruth smiles, first real smile in weeks, signs another card, throws it, another child catches. More screaming, more joy, more tears, more love. Ruth signing cards faster now. Well, trying to. Each signature harder than last. Each movement more painful, but continuing, must continue. These children need this, need him, need these final moments, these final gifts, these final memories. And Ruth needs them too. Needs to give, needs to connect, needs to matter. Even now, especially now, when everything else slipping away. This remains. This love, this connection, this purpose, card after card, falling like snow, like blessings, like farewell kisses from heaven. Children catching, fighting gently, sharing, helping smaller kids, everyone getting something, everyone receiving gift, everyone touched by legend, one last time. Claire crying now, watching, understanding significance, understanding beauty, understanding tragedy. Her husband, her babe, dying, but still giving, still loving, still being hero. Not because of strength, not because of power, not because of fame, but because of heart. Because he genuinely loves these children, genuinely cares, genuinely wants to give them something. Something to remember, something to treasure, something to pass down. And they receive it, gratefully, reverently, lovingly, holding cards like holy relics, like pieces of heaven, like fragments of immortality, because that's what they are. Last gifts from dying God, last touches from fading legend. Last connections with childhood hero, priceless, irreplaceable, eternal. Ruth exhausted now, cards running out, only few left. Claire helping him back to bed. That's enough, babe, you need to rest. Few more, just few more. Stubborn, always stubborn, even dying, even weak, even barely able to stand. Still stubborn, still determined, still wanting to give more. Claire brings last cards, Ruth signing. Each signature weaker, each stroke lighter, hand barely moving now, but finishing, must finish. These last children, these last gifts, these last moments. Final cards ready, Ruth back at window, leaning out, last time, final time, never again, knowing it, accepting it, but grateful for this, for them, for now. Throws last cards, watching them fall, watching children catch, watching joy, watching tears, watching love, then raises hand. One more wave, final wave, goodbye wave, children understanding, going quiet, solemn, reverent, raising hands, waving back, some saluting, some crying openly, all knowing, this is it, this is end. This is last time they see Babe Ruth, last time he sees them, last connection, last moment, last love. Ruth's lips moving, Claire leaning close, hearing whisper, love you kids, love you all. Then window closing, Claire helping him, gentle, slow, careful. Ruth back to bed, collapsing more than sitting, completely exhausted, spent everything, given everything, nothing left. But satisfied, peaceful, complete, did what needed to do, gave what needed to give, connected one last time. That's enough. That's everything. That's perfect ending to perfect life. Days pass. Ruth, fading, sleeping more, speaking less, visitors coming, teammates, friends, if family, saying goodbye, sharing memories, crying, laughing, remembering. Ruth, present but distant, body there, spirit preparing to leave, natural process, painful process, necessary process. Everyone must face, even legends, even heroes, even Babe Ruth. One afternoon, Ruth wakes, asks Claire, did it really happen? Window, children, cards. Yes, babe, it happened. It was beautiful. Good. Wanted to make sure. Wanted to remember. Important. Very important. Why was it so important? Because their future, baseball's future, America's future, my legacy, not home runs, not records, not fame, them, those children, what they remember, what they become, what they teach their children. That's legacy. That's what matters. That's what lasts. Claire crying, understanding, knowing he's right, knowing this is wisdom, deathbed wisdom. Yet hard-earned wisdom, true wisdom. They'll remember, babe, forever. You gave them something special, something they'll treasure forever. Good. That's all I wanted. That's all I needed, just to give. One more time. One last time. Best time. Few days later, Ruth slips into coma, peaceful, quiet, just sleeping, but not waking, body shutting down, systems failing, cancer winning, or maybe not winning, maybe just completing natural cycle, birth, life, death, everyone's path. Ruth's time has come, Claire beside him, holding hand, talking to him. Even though he can't respond, can't hear, can't acknowledge. She talks anyway, reminds him of their love, their life, their journey, thanks him for everything. Forgives him for mistakes, promises to remember, promises to honor, promises to love, always, forever, beyond death, beyond time. Beyond everything. Ruth dies peacefully, quietly, surrounded by love. Age 53, too young, too soon, but lived fully, loved deeply, mattered greatly, changed baseball, changed America, changed millions of lives, especially children. Always children, news spreads. Babe Ruth dead. Headlines everywhere, newspapers, radio, television, world mourning, America grieving, baseball crying. But nowhere grief deeper than among children. Children who loved him, who looked up to him, who dreamed of being him, who now must face world without him, without his smile, without his home runs, without his presence. Hard lesson, cruel lesson, necessary lesson. Heroes die, legends fade, but memories remain. Love remains. Impact remains. And those children who caught cards that day, who received final gifts, who witnessed final wave, they never forget and never let go, never stop treasuring. Those cards become family heirlooms, passed down, generation to generation, grandfather to father to son to grandson, each telling story of day. Babe Ruth died, day he stood at window, day he threw cards, day he waved goodbye, day he said, "I love you, kids." Story growing, becoming legend, but truth remaining, core truth, essential truth. Babe Ruth loved children, even dying, especially dying, gave them everything, including final gift, final memory, final love. One grandson, 70 years later, interviewed, holds card, yellowed, worn, signature faded, but precious, priceless. "This is my grandfather's card. He caught it that day, 1948, outside Memorial Hospital. He was 8 years old. Babe Ruth threw it from window. Grandfather caught it, kept it his whole life. Him showed it to me when I was young, told me story about dying hero who loved children so much he gave everything he had left, even when weak, even when dying, even when barely able to stand. He stood, he waved, he threw cards, he loved. That's what grandfather taught me. That's what this card means. Not just autograph, not just memorabilia, but lesson about love, about giving, about mattering, about what's really important. Not fame, not fortune, not records, but people, connections, love. Babe Ruth understood that, lived that, died that. And this card proves it. This yellowed, worn, faded card, worth nothing to collectors, worth everything to me, because it represents moment when legend became human, when hero showed heart, when dying man gave life, to children, to future, to us. That's power of Babe Ruth, not his bat, his heart, not his strength, his love, not his records, his humanity. This card taught me that. Grandfather taught me that. Babe Ruth taught me that. And now I teach my children, and they'll teach theirs, forever. That's legacy. That's immortality. That's Babe Ruth. Hospital staff remember too. Nurse who was there tells story. I've worked hospitals 40 years, seen 1,000 patients die, seen famous people, rich people, important people, none like Babe Ruth. Most people, when they're dying, become small, focused on themselves, on pain, on fear, on loss, understandable, natural, human. But Babe Ruth, even dying, he was thinking about others, about children, about giving, about love. I watched him stand at that window, watched him throw those cards, watched him wave, watched him smile, man who could barely walk, barely breathe, barely exist. But found strength for that, found energy for them, found joy in giving. That changed me, changed how I see death, changed how I see life. Because I realized death is inevitable, but how you die, that's choice. Babe Ruth chose to die, giving, loving, connecting, not taking, not hoarding, not hiding. That's beautiful death. That's meaningful death. That's death worth remembering. And I'll never forget it. Never stop telling story. Never stop honoring what I witnessed. Legend's final gift, not just to those children, to all of us, teaching us how to live by showing us how to die with grace, with love, with generosity. That's Babe Ruth. That's who he really was. Other children who were there, now old, share memories. I was 10, stood outside hospital for hours, waiting, just wanting to see him. Everyone said he was dying. Had to say goodbye. Had to be there. When window opened, when he appeared, when he waved, I cried. Couldn't help it. He looked so weak, so different from pictures, from movies, from memories, but still Babe Ruth, still legend, still hero. When he threw cards, I didn't catch one. Too far back, too small. Bigger kids caught them, but didn't matter. Seeing him wave, seeing him smile, seeing him care, that was gift enough. That was everything. 70 years later, still remember, still treasure, still cry when telling story. Because it mattered, because he mattered, because love like that doesn't fade, doesn't die, lives forever, in memory, in heart, in legacy passed down. That's what Babe Ruth gave us. Not just baseball, not just entertainment, but love. Real, genuine, unconditional love. From grown man to children he never met. And never knew, never would see again. But loved anyway. That's rare, that's special, that's eternal. Another, I caught card, treasured it until I was 20, then lost it. House fire, lost everything. Card burned. But you know what didn't burn? Memory, story, lesson. Those can't burn, can't be destroyed, can't be lost. Because they live in heart, in mind, in soul. I tell my grandchildren about that day. About dying Babe Ruth throwing cards, about him waving, about him loving us even when life leaving him. They listen, wide-eyed, amazed, moved, and they learn. Learn what I learned, learn what Babe Ruth taught. That greatness isn't about achievement, about fame, about records, about power. Greatness is about love, about giving, about caring when it would be easier not to, about standing when it would be easier to lie down. And it's about connecting when it would be easier to disconnect. That's greatness. That's Babe Ruth. That's lesson that survives fire, survives time, survives everything. Because truth survives, love survives, legacy survives, always. Claire, years after Ruth's death, interviewed, "People ask me about Babe's final days. What was hardest? What do I remember most?" And I always tell them, the window, the children, the cards, because that was Babe, real Babe, not legend, not hero, not celebrity, just George, my George, man who loved children more than anything, who found joy in their joy, who found purpose in their happiness, who found meaning in their love. He was dying, cancer eating him, pain constant, weakness overwhelming. But he stood, he waved, he threw cards, he smiled, because they needed him, and he needed them. That connection, that love. Yes, that purpose. Kept him alive, kept him fighting, kept him being Babe Ruth. Not because of ego, not because of legacy, but because of love. Pure, simple, beautiful love. When window closed that day, when he came back to bed, when he collapsed from exhaustion, he looked at me and said, "Thank you for that. Needed that. Needed them. Needed to give. One more time." And I said, "I know." And I did know, because I knew him. Knew his heart. Knew his soul. Knew what mattered to him. And it wasn't fame. Wasn't fortune. Wasn't records. Was children. Was love. Was connection. Was giving. That's who he was. That's who he died being. That's who he'll always be. To me, to them, to everyone who understands that greatness measured not by what you take, but by what you give, especially when you have nothing left to give, except love. And Babe gave that, fully, completely, until very end. That's my Babe. That's real Babe Ruth. That's man I loved. That's man I lost. That's man I'll remember. Forever. Baseball holds memorial. Yankee Stadium. Packed. 70,000 people. Mourning, celebrating, remembering. Speeches given. Tears shed. Stories told. But most moving moment? When children from that day asked to come forward. Dozens of them. Now teenagers, young adults, but still children in hearts. Still those kids who stood outside hospital, who caught cards, who received final gifts. They walk to center field, stand together, hold cards high, some yellowed, some pristine, some worn, some perfect. All precious, all priceless, all meaningful. Crowd sees, understands, goes silent, reverent, understanding significance, understanding beauty, understanding legacy, not just home runs, not just championships, not just records, but these children, these cards, these memories, these lives touched, these hearts changed, these souls inspired. That's Babe Ruth's legacy. That's what survives. That's what matters. That's immortality. Not bronze plaque, not Hall of Fame, not statistics, but love. Given freely, received gratefully, remembered eternally. Children hold cards, some crying, some smiling, all grateful, all changed, all better. Because of him. Because of that day. because of those cards, because of that love. And crowd understands, finally understands. What made Babe Ruth great? Not his bat, his heart, not his power, his love, not his achievements, his character. And that character lived in moments like this, when dying man stood at window, when weak hero found strength, when fading legend gave everything. In it to children, to future, to us. That's greatness, that's legacy, that's Babe Ruth. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to see more meaningful moments from sports history. And comment below. What would you want your final gift to the world to be? How do you want to be remembered? Share your thoughts.